afternoon and welcome to Blundstone Arena for round 16 TSL action. It's Clarence taking on North Launceston in the top four battle of some importance here. Top four looks pretty set. The order of positions still to be determined and the all-important home ground advantage for week one of finals. Today, a massive game in that regard. Clarence looking to get themselves up into third, likely to be playing Launceston in week one. You suspect it'll be the Bombers and the Tigers in the 1v2 game, who will have the crucial home ground edge in that one. It remains to be seen, but very much looking forward to the contest here. Two sides met at this venue fairly recently, in fact. It was only 4 or 5 weeks ago. It is slightly windy here today, but nothing to the degree we saw that afternoon, where we had balls going backwards, goals being kicked from 70, and barely a score to the left of screen all day. That shouldn't be an issue today. Bit of a swirling breeze. It won't make conditions overly easy, but the sun is shining, and certainly a vast improvement on what we saw that day. I'm Andrew Cooling, calling the action for the TSL live stream. We'll be getting underway shortly. A few minutes from the opening bounce. Be back to bring that to you in just a few moments' time. So just about ready to get underway here at Blundstone Arena. This round 16 clash between the Roos and the Bombers. Going to be an important 4 points up for grabs this afternoon. Will it be the Bombers who get the job done at Blundstone once again, or can Clarence pick up where they left off last week in defeating another team called the Bombers? One of their better performances of the year, I thought, last week against Lauderdale. And we'll see if that can carry on into this week. Big opportunity for both of these sides today to set themselves up in September. All in readiness at the ground. Umpire just about to get us underway. Our home's going to start in the ruck for Clarence. A reliable figure of Alex Lee in there for the Bombers. What a stalwart he has been. The umpire holds it off. We are set to go here at Blundstone Arena. Round 16 TSL action underway here. Harris trying to get near clearance. Good tackle laid by Lee. Ball just drops. Slap one around the corner. Screws it to the top of the 50 off the hands of Borsboom. Gathered by Callanan. Callanan on the left going deep looking for a Loams, but the position was Mitchell. And he's able to take the relieving mark. Mitchell clearing defensive 50. Can quite find Lee Flang. Off hands to Nicholas. Through the middle now, Roney. Didn't really have a lot on forward of the ball, and just drifting back to take the mark is Paprotny. Paprotny to Holmes, who sends it wide looking for Preshaw. Bit of an awkward bounce, gathered initially, just kept it in, had a bit of a fumble, but worked it right over the top to Harper. Harper draws the man to him, and that's a good pressure from Mitchell. Walks him across the line. Awarded was Mitchell, so he'll take the free kick. Out of defence. For Harvey Griffiths, but juggling away was Paprotny. Won't be paid it because Griffiths got a hand on. It'll be tossed up. Scrap at ground level, Pearce climbing on top. Slapped over the top nicely. Clarence will look to take it away with Norton. Gets the handball away to Callanan. Punches a low one straight down the throat of Alex Lee. Had an option in the corridor, that's where he heads. Picks out Ethan Hubbard. He goes wide looking for Lee Flang. Kick just a little behind him. Has Fletcher Bennett in support. Uses Lee Flang. Key defenders combine and chip back in for Hubbard. Roney wanted it. Ignored that. Went wider to Lee. He's got a man on in Sulzberger in space. Heads that way, but it was a scrappy kick and tumbles out of play. So early indicators are the wind perhaps slightly favouring Clarence on their end of the ground, but certainly nothing to the extent we saw last time. Yeah, really, the Church Street end. I don't think there was a goal kick there in the second half of the game. Holmes against Lee. Lee takes front position, can take the ball away. Sulzberger under pressure from Holmes. Holmes doing well not to give the free kick away, then handballs back inside. Some sharp play there from Tom Murrell. Started off last week in lightning form. Kicked 3 early goals. Roney with a fumble. Oh, then coughed it straight up to Harper. Harper chips it to Garland. It was all on his own. Defender sitting off him. His team had the ball, but a bit of a bad turnover there and a dangerous part of the ground will present Colin Garland the opportunity to kick the opening goal of the game. Last week it was Bryce Holmes who did all the damage. Kicked 6 goals. Took a stack of marks. Colin Garland, another very dangerous option down there. Just tries to nurse this one through. Almost touched on the line, but he guides it through for the first of the afternoon. He's trying to keep it under the wind there, Colin Garland. And he gets the first goal for Clarence. A confidence builder to start here for the Roos. And all the Bombers heading into this game, probably the form team of the TSL, you'd have to say, over the past couple of months. The Tigers jumped out of the blocks as the early team to beat. There's been the Bombers who've been red hot, drawn level on points with them. They are seeking a minor premiership and the advantage that would give them in September, the home final. So back to the middle we go. Holmes against Lee, a bit of a wayward bounce, that'll have to be recalled. Lee thumps it forward. Handball from Borsboom to Norton. Now they'll chip it wide for Colby Whitelaw. Holmes would run on ahead and given him an option. Noah Holmes. Not sure that was his intended target, but it works out all right to half forward. He found Colin Garland again. Garland to get round the man on the mark, gave it off to Green from the angle. Sammy Green just hung it near side, couldn't work it back enough. A minor score only. But Clarence starting as they did against the Southern Bombers last week. Some early attacking play, controlling proceedings. They really jumped out of the blocks there. It's been a fast start again today. He's off his mark here and he's in trouble. Is Nicholas. Green gets it. He's now in trouble, has to get rid of it. Back to Nicholas, just gets his kick away in time. And Pearce will bail him out with a good mark under pressure. Well, that could have been very unfortunate there. Nicholas caught on the mark. A little asleep there. Not a great kick from Pearce, but some time and space. They manoeuvre it back out to Nicholas. Guides it down the line. Was trying to find Theo Eyes. Parked in front of him was Paprotny. So Oscar Paprotny will just retreat back to Beerley. They'll try and execute the switch, but the Bombers have the far wing shut down here. Not really an option, so has to buy time, wait for Beerley to provide that extra link, and they'll work it by hand over the top, trying to find Howlett. He's surrounded by Bombers here, Howlett. He tries to get a kick away, but he's caught holding the footy. Some good pressure from the Bombers. Man Shandon. Chip kick into the middle, finds Hubbard, gets it moving quickly up towards the half-forward line. Beerley plays spoiler, gets it away from Avent and takes it out of play. Toss back in, Lee takes it out of the contest, fires out a handball. Callanan scrapping away. Umpire will call for it. Both sides cracking in early on. Slap down, just volleyed out of the air, fell back to Hubbard. His handball through traffic is well gathered, and now they'll send it deep forward. Ives is outnumbered here though. Off hands, so the mark not paid. Had to get rid of it quickly. Did a good job, got it over the top to Whitelaw. He didn't like the option down that wing, so instead retreats back to Fisher. To Keegan Wiley. Tries to dissect the gap. That lets in Ben Simpson. And a man in a share of the lead in the Player of the Year award, spiking that one out of play. He and Sam Siggins, the front runners this season. The North Launceston skipper having a fine year. Clarence needs to put the clamps on him. Lee works his way to the front. Holmes reaches over the top. Lee will get the clearance. It's a kick deep into the forward line. 2-on-1 wins out. Harvey Griffiths looks to be first to the fall of it. Numbers favour the Roos. Composed under pressure there was Paprotny, but now they've coughed it up. Cox Goodyear trying to crash through three, and he's in some trouble here. Cox Goodyear, he's caught holding the footy. Tried to charge between a pair of Roos. Couldn't get through them. In the end, the free kick was paid to Whitelaw, who retreats to the back pocket. Kick it along the outer wing. Garland the target up there, tried to bring it in with the one hand. Outnumbered here, so just happy to take it across the line. How's the umpire see that? He has pinged him for insufficient intent. I thought so. It wasn't particularly well disguised from Big Garland there. Just kind of paddled it straight over. His intent was clear. Alex Lee with the hit up. Dished it off to Simpson. Set up, looking for Ives. Wiley drifting back into the space. Impacts the contest, but it fell off hands to Cox Goodyear. And he snaps it just wide of the mark. First score of the afternoon for the Bombers. Wasn't too far away. Clear and kick up towards Norton. Chip back out. And punch down the line. Spoil came from behind. Whitelaw gathering it, Dolliver rather. In the end, Wiley was pressured by his opposite number, Fletcher Bennett. Another one enjoying a fine season for the Bombers, Fletcher Bennett. So Young will take over and he goes looking for Ives through his hands. Griffiths applying the pressure and he just shoves Paprotny out of play. Lee, Norton, Avent through the traffic, caught from behind there. Pressure applied, Cox Goodyear with a sharp give, handed off to Bailey Mitchell. Bailey Mitchell with the snap around the corner into the post. Far away, some sharp play there. And Mitchell just unable to split the middle, denied by the woodwork there. Wiley out of fullback, over the head of McGee, not a good kick, cut off by Leaf Lang, and pretty sure we'll need to be careful not to give away 50 there. Leaf Lang just sets it up high, off hands, thumped out of there, a bit of an ugly kick from Howard, but it works out nicely for Norton. Baxter Norton goes the direct route, sends it over the top. Preshaw ahead of the ball here, can he gather it? It didn't take an accommodating bounce. Pressure now comes in from Vandam. Vandam with a handball. It was a bad one back into the corridor. Let in Murrell. Then back out to Paprotny. He stands it up. And a good mark is taken there by Dolliver. Strong pair of hands. And Jack Dolliver will go back and kick from 35 out directly in front. Perseverance and pressure. A little sloppy from the Bombers. It was a clever play just to send it over the top to Preshaw initially. That little bit of wind at their backs, just got the extra carry. Preshaw cleverly getting ahead of the play. Ultimately leads to an opportunity here for Dolliver. Dolliver sends it on its way, splits the middle, and Clarence have their second of the afternoon. They're 2-1-13, leading this one by 11 points from the Bombers' two straight behinds. And for a few minutes, pressure the other end, absorbed, and the woodwork helping them out too. They're able to go up the other end, do some damage on the scoreboard. So 13 plus change played here in the first. Clarence with the first two goals of the afternoon. That'll be recalled, much as it was last time the two sides met here. Tough day for the umpires to get that bounce right as Lee slaps it over the top. Pearce on the bottom of the pack. Holmes slapping it down. Garland moving up into the play. Charged down. There's Keegan Wright out there from Clarence, who's got a big cross through his name and my team sheet. And wasn't named initially to play, so there has been a late change somewhere there for Clarence. So that's Wright out there. Someone else is wearing his number. Lee slaps that one away. Green and the stretch is able to gather it. Some room for the forwards to lead into the pocket. That's where he heads. McGee from too deep, almost able to take it, not quite. Murrell lurking. Pressure applied to Nicholas. Bennett fired out a handball. Kick around the corner is going to go straight to Ryan. Who just sets it up looking for McGee. Can't quite bring it down. Vandam. Handball to Roney. He gave it wider still to Mansell, who cleared defensive 50, but it might come right back at them here. Baxter Norton round the corner. Pitching almost for Howlett. Preshaw gathers, pre-shot from the pocket, he snaps it across the face. Garland in a one-on-one with strength, held off the defender, but he couldn't reel it in with the right hand, and it'll be tossed back into play instead. Slap down McGee, almost through traffic. Lee able to halt him. Bennett back inside to Simpson. Turns off and tries to switch it. Whitelaw applying some pressure there on Mitchell. And out of play it goes. Clarence doing a good job shutting down the exit avenues for the Bombers out of defensive 50. Finding free men where they try and rebound and kick to a contest. Holmes working that one down. Lee tries to gather. Going nowhere. Umpire gives it plenty of time, but have to call for it eventually. Slapped down by Lee. Pearce along the outer boundary. Gathering it was a Hearn, but he's immediately claimed. Lee with a big leap there, won it down. Kick back into the corridor. Tough one for Green to gather. Charging back through the other way was Hubbard. Harvey Griffiths got a handball away in time, and now they smack it forward. Worked out towards Cox Goodyear, but he infringed. The free kick will go the way of Liam Howard. Doesn't mess around, moves it quickly to Green. Green opts to give the short handball. Now they'll go and use the spare on the wing in Howlett. Kieran Howlett assesses his options. Eventually he'll be forced to kick to a contest. Flying leap, quite brought down. Murrell applying some pressure. Nicholas with the handball back to Bennett. Retreats further to Mitchell and then fires one inside to Mansell. Mansell gave it to Ollington. Ollington with a deft little kick for Harvey Griffiths. Some nice stuff there from the Bombers. Now where to for Harvey Griffiths. One-on-ones everywhere ahead of him, so he just tried to screw one wide. Trying to find Pearce, couldn't do so. And again, Clarence doing a good job defensively there. Their shape and structure has been sound here in the opening 20 minutes. Bombers not finding those free targets. They're a very efficient side moving the ball by foot, the Bombers. I do fancy it is the tougher end they're attacking here. It might be worth a couple of goals. Here's Alex Lee. Wins it down, thumps it into the pocket through the hands of Paprotny. Has a little time to assess, and then he'll chip back to Fisher. He's in no rush to move it. Lovely kick up towards Callanan. He takes the mark and continue to slow play it. Chip over the top. Just misread a little, almost Garland through his hands. Now he has to apply the defensive pressure. Preshaw. McGee. Howlett trying to skip through a couple and does so. Sends it in the Alomes direction. Alomes! Strength to beat Lockie Mitchell in the one-on-one there. A man in form. He kicked 6 last weekend. And he wheels onto his right, but he put himself under pressure. Oh, got round his man in the end. Straightens and puts it wide of the mark. Well, would have been a classy goal. Not to be for Bryce Alomes. He got himself into a bit of trouble playing on too quickly, but was able to spin back away from Mitchell. Nothing doing there. Roney with a little chip. He finds his man in the back pocket. Nothing on that direction, so back to Vandam. And Shandon peeling off on the opposite flank. He chips it back inside for Nicholas. Nicholas has a few options here. Handball over the top, not a good one. Preshaw picks it off. They are vulnerable the other way. Garland all on his lonesome, and Preshaw misses him with the kick. Well, missed opportunity there. Colin Garland all on his lonesome in the goal square. Couldn't find him. Minor score only. 2 goals, 3, Clarence. So the Bombers again opting to go wide. Then they'll treat back again. Roney, Vandam. Hubbard wants it. He's off here. We're forced to play on. Manshandon, his target, had to come from behind. Spoiled it away towards the boundary line. Handball to Leaflang. Leaflang, good flick over the top for Manshandon. Manshandon steering them towards the half-forward line. Good body work there. As Fisher slides in. Preshaw flicked it back. Umpire spots it over the shoulder. It's going to the Roos. Theo Ives. Man infringing. Fisher to take. Thinks about the switch, but the Bombers have that covered off, so he led down the near wing instead. Leaflang couldn't complete the mark. Nicholas under pressure. His handball is out of play as Ryan gives him a little afterwards. Sparks the attentions of Max Roney. Holmes and Lee out at it once more. Nicholas's handball was cut off. Callanan just got it away in time. Now it's back towards Howlett. Callanan under pressure from Sulzberger. Got it back to Holmes. Holmes blasts it in the Garland direction. It'll be a bit of a foot race here as it's spun backwards. Garland just works Vandam underneath it, then sends it in the Holmes direction. He's got some support arriving in the form of Harper. Can't quite gather it though, didn't take a kind bounce. Good pressure from Fletcher Bennett. The follow-up work not so sharp. Slipped up over the shoulder. Free kick to the Roos. McGee presenting. Instead, he chops it off short for Harper. There is a thumping kick. Here's Jared Harper. From the angle and with the wind, this will be a difficult assignment, but he's likely got the journey, I suspect. Now Jared Harper kicking from about the pain of 50. Sends it on its way. And it is a beautiful kick from Jared Harper. Splits the middle. The Roos have their third. They're off to a flyer of a start here at Blundstone Arena. 3-3-21 leading North Launceston. 2 straight behinds. 19 points their edge here. It's an important top 4 battle. It's the home side who've started brightly. Going to be one of those games that'll be tough to judge till half-time, though, just to really get a true bearing of the win factor. But Clarence getting it done early on here, taking advantage of attacking Derwent River End here early on. Positive start for them. They lead by 19, 23 minutes played. Bounce favours Lee. Clarence were expecting a recall, none forthcoming. Lee just pumps it deep and he finds Ives. Well, that'll earn the ire of the Roos faithful. They all just kind of stopped expecting the recall. I said no, didn't leave the circle. Lee just able to thump it deep, and Ives playing in front has a chance here for the Bombers first of the afternoon. A little fortuitous perhaps, but play the whistle is what they say, and Clarence players just all stopped. Made an assumption. They rather caught out in the end, allowed Lee an unpressured kick. So Theo Ives can really make it hurt. And he drives it straight through. He lets him know about it, Theo Ives. He has the Bombers first of the afternoon. And they cut the lead back to 13 points. An important goal to an end where they'll be tough to come by as it kicks off down in the goal square. Theo Ives just wanting a few up down there. The Clarence players responding. Enough feeling out there early on. Important battle, and who knows, a potential finals matchup later in the season perhaps. Back to the middle and back to 13 points. Lee spiked it over the top nicely. Pearce running onto it and running into an open 50. Sets it up. Maybe he could have gone the shot, but Keegan Wiley able to pick that one off and A lovely boot from him finds Baxter Norton. Baxter Norton dishes off and they work it up towards Green, but straight to Bennett in the end. It wasn't a good kick. He's able to drop it off short. Lee sent it over the top looking for Bennett. Bounce though, favoured Harper. Harper to McGee. McGee dished it to the running Norton. He goes looking for Holmes, just caught behind here as it bounces towards the pocket, and Lee Flang, I think, was trying to run it through for a behind in the end. Will go out of play for a throw in. Just lost control of it a little. So deep into the opening quarter here as Clarence on the attack and up by 13. Holmes slapped it down. Defensive pressure comes from Mansell. Murrell trying to get free of him. Lee won it down. Lee Flang, umpire spotted a jumper hold. Will go the way of Simpson. Vandam presenting short, ignores that. We go longer down the line. No, he chips it short to Fletcher Bennett. Bennett returned it. Oh, just got around Holmes. This is a little sloppy and they've lost the football. Clarence looking to swoop. Picked up by Norton. And it's going to be a goal in the end. McGee, a little bit fortuitous. It wasn't put through for a behind. It's sat on the doorstep. Connor McGee bags his first of the afternoon. And the Roos back out to a 19-point lead, and it might be a 25-point lead if they're not careful here. Holmes is going to get a free kick. Simpson off the ball. Well, could be the double play coming up here. One that probably should have been fisted through for a behind. Instead it goes through for a goal. That sparks celebrations and remonstrations. A free kick, and Holmes could make it a 12-point play to extend the Roos lead to 25 points in the shadows of quarter time. He sends it on its way and hammers it into the post. A bit of a let-off there. 4 goals for Noah Holmes. Driving that one in. It will be the final kick of the quarter. A great quarter if you're a Clarence fan. They're out by 20 points here at the first change. A solid start from them. We wait and see how the Bombers respond with the wind in quarter number 2. But it's the home side picking up where they left off last week, leading 4-4 to 1-2. Quarter time at Blundstone Arena. Stick around. I think it's going to be an interesting afternoon here. We'll see what the Bombers can do with the wind in the second term. Second quarter not too far away. So just about ready to get going here in quarter number 2 at Blundstone Arena. It's the home side in the ascendancy by 20 points at the first change. We'll see how they adapt to kicking against the wind in quarter number 2 and whether that's enough to get the Bombers back into this one. They've started brightly, have the Northern Bombers, have Clarence rather, making life tough here for the Bombers around the contest. It's certainly tough to transition the ball attacking the Church Street end. I think the Bombers will enjoy that extra 10, 15 metres of carry. They might get a little more here in quarter number 2. It appears to be in readiness. And we're back underway. The battle resumes. Lee wins it down over the top. Flick back over the top there by Ollington. Handball towards Simpson, sat under it a while. Callanan caught him a little high, got his kick away just in time towards Cox Goodyear. Van Shandon was down there. Ahern gets his kick in towards the pocket. Theo Ives out after it. He gathers just in time, fires one off to Harvey Griffiths. Been quiet so far, Griffiths, but we know he's a game breaker. He turns onto the right. He sends it towards the line. Won't quite have the journey. And it's emphatically fisted through for a minor score. Back to 19, but here's Harvey Griffiths. Real danger man inside that forward 50, which makes defenders miss. So Wiley sends it wide, a one-on-one between Preshaw and Griffiths, and Preshaw does well. Just holds off Griffiths and then takes the mark. Called to play on, he sends one up. Bennett best poised here, just dropped it a little short, spoiled away. Harper had one hand claimed, somehow got rid of it. Preshaw should be able to chop this off, he does. Handball back to Wiley. Wiley charges between a couple and then punches an ugly looking kick, wasn't quite marked though. Vandam wrapped up by Garland, and the umpire will call for it. Holmes spiked it towards Garland, but getting in the way was Nicholas. Just getting rid of it in time, Vandam. Turned over though, now Baxter Norton, screws it round the corner. Bombers with a 2-on-1, Lee Flang spiked it out. Chip short, and that'll be marked by Sulzberger. Got moving quickly to Simpson. He sent it down the line, it's a good kick. Finds Jack Ahern. So Ahern sets it up towards the half-forward line, just drops short. It's a good kick for Manshandon. Manshandon find a target inside the forward 50. He goes looking for Cox Goodyear and finds him. Side that should favour the left footer. Will take. Good kick from here though. See if the wind will allow him to work this one back. Bradley Cox Goodyear. What a star he has been so long for this Bombers side. He sends it on its way. It looks pretty good off the boot. That is a mighty hit from Cox Goodyear. Never looked like missing. And they cut the margin back to 13 points. Just such sweet contact with that ball. His technique is superb. He's punched that one through beautifully. Bradley Cox Goodyear, the first goal of quarter number 2. Anywhere within 55 metres, he's a threat. Let's move forward. Another weapon for them down there. Leary and Shandon, Griffiths. There's some lively goal kickers inside that 450 arc for the Bombers. Back to the middle. Lee gets the better of Holmes, just tapped it down, returned to Lee, who just spirals one to Ives, again rewarded for playing in front. That was the recipe for their goal in quarter number 1. And again, Lee just blasting one from the centre circle. And it lands in the breadbasket of Theo Ives, who's rewarded for front position once more. And the Bombers trailing this one by 19 heading into the term. the opportunity to cut it back to 7 inside the opening 4 and a bit minutes here. Certainly the easier end to attack. Theo Ives for his second of the afternoon. Hooks it a little, but it's through the middle. He loves his work there, and they're back within 7, so a bright start to this term for the Bombers. 4-4 plays 3-3. Making short work of this Clarence quarter-time lead. Sun shining down here on Blundstone Arena. It's a lovely midwinter's afternoon here. A little bit of wind about, but conditions lovely for a game of football. The ground looking in good nick too, as the Bombers start to claw their way back here in the second term. How will Clarence respond? Lee looks to take it out of the middle again, and he will do so. Fired a handball for De Sulzberger. Callanan running him down, but he's kicked just in front of Leary. Leary paddles it, gathers it, keeps his feet. That's crucial, and then sets it up into the pocket. Oh, couldn't quite find Young sliding. Pearce applying some pressure. He gathers it, but he's under pressure immediately. Just out of play. The ability of Leary to keep his feet there, impressive. Really enjoyed his work this season. Real creative player. Inside the forward half for the Bombers. Ives to ruck now against Holmes. Holmes slapped it down. Ives applying some pressure. That could be holding the footy. It is. Theo Ives having a real impact on this game. He's kicked 2. He'll go back and fire for his third of the afternoon. The 3 of his side's 4 goals, and to cut the margin back within a point. And the handy advantage that Clarence enjoyed at quarter time might have all but evaporated here inside the first 6.5 minutes if Ives can kick truly. Sends it on its way. And by doing some work, that's not a good kick. Won't trouble the scorers. So Cannon's into the behind post. So it remains 4-4 to 3-3, but the Bombers looking much sharper here in quarter number 2 with the wind at their backs. This one just hold up a little. The pack forms. Vandam got a fist to it. Lee Flang flicked one over the top, just eluding Ollington and out of play. No loose men anywhere here at the moment. It is one-on-ones all over the ground. Lee and Holmes. Simpson dived in. Lee getting the clear and kick again. Off the hands of Bealey. Might land for Leary. Can he make it work? Some good pressure from Paprotny. Griffiths tried to work it back. And out of play for a throw in. Good defensive pressure there from the Roos. They're under siege at the moment though. Ives and Holmes. Holmes palms it down wildly, met solidly by Leary. That's a great tackle. Brandon Leary. No prior opportunity though, so it'll be a ball up, but crunching tackle there from the youngster. Holmes tapped it down, clear and kick up towards the 50 arc, almost chopped off by Ollington. Garland paddling it away. Lee Flang couldn't quite gather. Nicholas dropped the football, kicked it off the deck. Pearce. Now Ollington trying to crash through, but Preshaw has a hold of him. It's hot in the kitchen at the moment. Team's flying in. Contested ball. Slapped down by Holmes. Work back inside, and Ollington across the line after receiving it from Avent. Over the head of the rucks. Howlett and Pearce battling away at ground level. It's been the Bombers doing all the attacking here in quarter number 2. Holmes did well to our body Lee. It'll be a free kick though, paid for a hold on Norton. Howlett circles behind him. Ignores that and tries to take his man on, did so. He got around Roney, and then he sent it towards half forward. Outnumbered was Garland, and that led to him just shoving Lee Flang, which was spotted by the umpire. So Connor Lee Flang called to play on here. Sends his kick towards Holmes, off hands Ollington to a Hearn, and take it cleanly under some good pressure here from Borsboom. Holmes continuing to ruck. Haven't seen much of Sam Green in the ruck yet this afternoon. This one's kept in play by Ollington. Pearce and Norton will battle away. Fell out the back to Young. Kept it in slickly. Got it to Pearce. Pearce runs it inside the paint. He's closing in on goal. And he tried the banana. He didn't quite have the accuracy. Minor score only. He looked inside a couple of times. Didn't see anything he liked and went, well, we'll bite off the banana instead. Couldn't quite execute there, Pearce. As Wiley chips it short into the back pocket. So they clear the defensive 50 arc. Off hands. And out of play for a throw in. Good battle developing here at Blundstone this afternoon. Top 4 battle in the TSL. Potential prelude to a finals matchup. Slap back down centrally. Some good pressure again. Don't have long to get rid of the football in this game. Anyone who just takes that extra second is being crunched. Lee somehow gets it away and thumps a deep kick to the goal square, and juggling the mark down there is Young. Well, again, it's a Bombers player just being rewarded for playing in front, and big Alex Lee having a real influence with these clearances, just taking him out of the ruck contest, sending it in deep and unsettling this Clarence defence. Not much the defenders can do. They've been caught trailing, and again, front position reaps the rewards. Young drives it through. And she's all square at Blundstone Arena. 4-4 plays 4-4. And given we're only at the 12-minute mark of this term, advantage to the Bombers, because they've still got over half a quarter to attack this end. They've made their move here early on. And they've knotted this one up. Clarence, so dominant in quarter number 1. Just can't get the ball forward of centre at the moment. The win's a factor, but they're also starting to get rather dominated at the clearances. Alex Lee having a profound influence here, as he did the last time the two sides met. He serves he was best on that day as well. Over to Holmes to respond, doing all right in the hit-out stakes, but the clearances really being dominated. That was some good ruck work again from Lee. Won it down, and the kick finds Young. Just beyond his range here, though. With the wind, perhaps he'll fancy himself. He looks like he's going to take it on, or at least give that impression to Clarence. This would take a big ride from here. Kicking from 55 to 60. From the edge of the square, he gives it a ride. Doesn't quite have the accuracy, but there's your indicator of the wind. That carried comfortably, and he kicked it for the paint of the centre square. So they take the lead for the first time this afternoon here, the Bombers. Chip short to Anderton. Been a little quiet thus far, Mitch Anderton. Not his best work there. Tight to the line, just stayed in. And off hands for a ball in. Lee works his way to the front. Neither ruckman decisively there. Through the contest, Avent. Handball just a little sharp for Pearce. He's running out of play. Over the top, Simpson. Preshaw traipsed all over him and then dispossesses Avent, but so he didn't have the football, says the umpire. Avent, the recipient. Steers it for Harvey Griffiths and finds him on a searching lead. Well, Griffiths back himself here, having just seen the carry on his teammate's shot for goal. Young from distance, may well fancy himself, Harvey Griffiths. Leary presenting short, that's ignored. So it looks like he'll send it on its way. He's a goal kicker, Harvey Griffiths. Wheels out to the right, tries to bend it back on the breeze, and he does so beautifully. What a strike from Harvey Griffiths. And the Bombers are out by 7 points. Beautifully worked back. Just gave up the goals, drifted it back, and again the distance, no worry. And they've made their move in quarter number 2, have the Bombers. They're 5-5, Clarence stagnating. They're stuck on 4-4 and in need of a response. Need of just a little period of possession perhaps here. They've barely been able to get their hands on the ball in this term. Advancing it's proved difficult. And the Bombers suddenly skipping away here. 5-5 to 4-4. Not high percentage shots they're really giving up either. There's a couple of lovely kicks from outside the paint of 50. Lee again wins one down. Avent crashing through. Pressure comes from Ruse, Callanan in there. He tossed up. Ryan tight to Simpson. Holmes slapped that one over the top nicely, but dispossessed was Harper. Kick tumbled out to Holmes. Screwed one round the corner, but Lee Flang takes the relieving mark. In the better there of McGee. He wanted a free kick, nothing doing. The Bombers to advance it short. Sulzberger in the corridor. Flicked it back outside to Lee Flang. Got into some trouble though. The Roos forced the turnover. They work it forward of centre. A throw's been called. Oh, that's going to sting them. Just when it seemed they were set to get something going. The Bombers get a free kick to relieve the pressure at half-back. Lee Flang sends it long and wide. Pearce gathers, but runs out of real estate. It'll be tossed back in. Off the shoulder of Holmes. Pearce and Callanan cracking in there. Holmes reaches over the top. Green couldn't gather. Ollington not quite. Now he gets it. One way, then the other, and then he's caught holding the footy. Advantage paid. Preshaw picks it up. Scoops the handball on over the top to Callanan. He hasn't got a lot on ahead of him though, Callanan, so he just had to hold up and wait. Did a good job of doing that. Now he sends it forward. Still not a lot down there. The Bombers with the numbers. And a good tackle laid by Holmes, and a stoppage probably as good as they could have hoped for there. As Callanan twice looked up and twice just saw the Bombers comfortably with the numbers. McGee flicked it over the top, but he flicked it straight to Ollington. He dished the handball out to Bennett. Bennett sends it forward towards Cox Goodyear. Bounces over his head to the favour of Beerley. Screws one round the corner on his left. He has two men out there. Green rather cleverly just paddled it down to Wiley. Kept it in play. Sharp stuff from the big ruck. Stooping to gather that one is Ryan. He's paid the mark. 3 one-on-ones inside the forward 50 arc, but against the wind that might be a tough kick to hit, so he just goes wider still. And they'll be patient in their approach here, the Roos, as they were in quarter number one, so considered ball movement. Fly came from behind. Lee Flang trying to get it away from Preshaw. He does so. Scoop the handball to Bennett. Bennett to Sulzberger. Back to Bennett. Into High take it clean. The Anderton applying some pressure. The Roos now able to chip it forwards. McGee did well to spoil there, did McGee. Harper cracking in over the top of Mansell. And eventually the umpire calls for it. So Clarence haven't gone inside 52 often this quarter. This has been about as good a spell as they've had. Can they get something from it? No, because Lee will just race away with the clearance. He sends it over the top, and Leary leads the foot race. Then driving in, did a good job not to get in the back there, Bealey. Just rolls, but he didn't avoid slipping over the shoulder. Free kick to Leary. And given the way the kicks have been flying in this term, the young fella might go back and back himself in here, you'd fancy. So a 7-point lead for the Bombers. We're into red time in quarter number two. Leary looking to extend it out to 13 points. He wheels off to his right. He pumps it deep. It's drifting through. It's a magnificent kick again. They are nailing these kicks from outside the paint, the Bombers. And they lead by 13 points. They're taking their chances. And they are putting on an exhibition of goal kicking. They lead 6-5 to 4-4. Clarence just unable to get anything going here in quarter number two. And it is the Bombers who are taking their chances. 3 goals now from 55 plus. It's been highly, highly impressive stuff. And it was 28-8. Heading into this quarter, it's now 41-28. 33-0 this term, and the Bombers go forward again. This one spiked away, back into dispute. Ollington gathers in stride. He hands it off. Skipping around one is Manchandon. He turns onto the right. He fires for goal. They've got another one. William Manchandon. And suddenly it's the Bombers by 19. They've taken over this football game, and Will Manchandon has another one. 5 goals to 0 for the term. I think that's 6 goals to 0 for the term. This is highly impressive stuff from, well, in my eyes at any rate, the premiership favourites at this point, the Northern Bombers. And they are doing nothing to dissuade me from that view this afternoon. This has been a scintillating second term. What a response. They were jumped in quarter number one by Clarence, but this has been one of the best quarters I've seen a team put together this season. Quarter number two. They're on fire. Can Clarence get something to respond with? Avent trying to get free. Lee bends in. Looks to take it away again. Norton just coughed it up though. Lost it to Simpson. And Simpson fires them deep. Leary beaten by Bealey on that occasion. Anderton takes it. Immediately dispossessed. Manchandon scooped the handball over the top to Young. Young to Cox Goodyear. Cox Goodyear snapping off line. It was nearly another one. And it's 20 points now, the margin. The onslaught continues. Wiley, forced wide, has Howard. Norton presents short. He'll go further down the line. Dropped in short. Two teammates almost spoil each other. In the end, Harper will take the mark. Those balls boom. His short kick really set Callanan a task. He was up to it. Took a good mark in the end, Jack Callanan. Wheels inside. Sends it up towards the half-forward line. Bennett read it well, spoiled it away, spilled out the back to Norton, flicked it over the top. A cruel bounce though for Harper. Simpson gets back, gets the handball away to Bennett. And they clear defensive 50, but it's going to come right back because he found Callanan. Callanan gets around Lee and sends it in the Garland direction. Nicely done by Vandam. Wasn't really a Great kick to the advantage of Garland. Allowed Vandam in and slapped it over the line. Clarence in dire need of a goal here late in quarter number 2. They've been blitzed in this quarter. 40-0. Neither ruckman takes it. Leaf Lang. He gets it, but Garland immediately on the scene. This one slapped towards the boundary. Leaf Lang gathers, but in turn is caught. Great tackle from Murrell. He's been pinged, holding the footy. It's on Murrell. And he lift his side here. It'll be a tough kick from this pocket, but his team in dire need of a goal. He's won the free kick. Can he make it count now? Give his team a lift towards the half-time break. They need something. They need a spark. Can Tom Murrell provide it? He'll kick from about 40. And he never really gave it a chance, hung it near side. The first score of the quarter for the Roos, but not the type they were after. They're still in arrears by 19. Theo Ives, the target here, drifting in from the side was Ryan. Takes the mark, spots an option short, that's where he heads, and he finds Pre-Short. But at this end of the ground, kicks the pain of 50, considerably more difficult. This will take his best. Jack Pre-Short. Wiley offering an option. Doesn't look overly confident. He's just going to set it up instead. Knew the wind was a bit much. The big men fly. No one can take it. Slap to Callanan. Weaves one way, then the other. He snaps it around the corner. Callanan didn't quite catch it right. Stays in play and eventually walked through by Bennett. So the Bombers haven't had a lot of defending to do this term, but just absorbing a little pressure here late on. This one sent long through the hands of Ives. Callanan flicked it up to Harper. Pre-Shore sliding in, takes the mark. Ignores Murrell, instead goes more central. Alomes, Garland, couldn't quite bring it in. No one can take it cleanly. Eventually the Bombers try to take it away. Nicholas just got it away in time. Bealey bombing up. He sends it deep to the goal square, and again it's off hands. And again it's a minor score. 4-7 plays 7-6 now. Long Leaf Lang. Might have been infringed. Leary didn't have an option, so he just fambbled it himself. Tried to get around the outside. In the end, he's forced over the line. Why the inventiveness, Leary at times. Tries those creative little plays. Players probably would have just blazed away up the line where Clarence had the spare man behind the ball. So Sam Green's going to do some rucking now. They pitched in front of him. He turned one around the corner. An awkward bounce. Leaf Lang does well to apply some pressure, but Harper got his kick away all the same. And a strong mark taken, not paid to Pre-Shore. Flicked off the handball, and then round the corner, Howlett. Still, they've got the numbers on here, the Roos. The pressure applied by Vandam, and he's done well there in a 2-on-1, Vandam. And the Bombers will take it away, and they will see out the term. And they will lead by 17 points at the half-time break. A magnificent quarter from the Northern Bombers. 7-6 leading at 4-7. They made their move there and kicked 6 goals to none with the wind at their backs, albeit not a wind as significant as the last time these two sides met. Still a handy edge, and boy did Northern Bombers take full advantage that term. They lead by 18 points at the main change. We'll be back shortly with the second half for you, but after 2 quarters of footy, It is the Northern Bombers looking the goods, leading 7-6 to 4-7. So just about set to go here in the second half at Blundstone Arena. North Launceston off the back of a scintillating second quarter, leading this one by 17 points, 7-6-48 to 4-7-31. As we get set to begin the second half, a little around the grounds in other TSL action this afternoon. North Hobart leading Lauderdale down at the tip by 16 points. Well, perhaps a bigger surprise brewing at KG5, the final quarter. It's getting underway there, and it's only a 7-point margin, a late goal in the third quarter for the Tigers. 47-40 in that one. That would be a massive upset, and certainly the Northern Bombers would be salivating over that prospect, but a surprise brewing. The Tigers, though, in the lead. Big match coming up in a couple of weeks' time between them and the Northern Bombers as they battle it out for the minor premiership and home ground advantage. Week one of the finals and potentially the grand final. So plenty at stake in the final month or so of the season. The Northern Bombers will want to keep taking care of business here this afternoon. They're well on their way to another 4 points as it stands. Clarence need a response in this third term with the wind at their backs. They need to build themselves a lead to take into the final term, but this man has been prolific again today, Alex Lee, and he gets another clearance, sends it out towards Harvey Griffiths. Griffiths just allows it to roll, and then too dexterous for Paprotny. He gathers, puts it on the left, almost found Cox Goodyear, not quite Ives, but gathered at the second attempt, and he sends it through the middle. Theo Ives has another one, a lightning fast start to the Bombers. A goal in the opening 30 seconds, and they lead by 23 points. And Clarence, who started this game so promisingly, now finding themselves in a mighty deep hole here. It's 8-6, plays 4-7. First attack, first goal in the second half. And again, it was Alex Lee just taking it out of the middle. The big man is dominating in there, giving Bombers forward some good looks, and they're taking full advantage. And Ives, a second attempt there to gather and snap truly. Got the accommodating bounce through the middle. 23 points now, the margin. Simpson, gathered by Howlett, wrapped up. Holmes this time. Norton turning back onto the left. He sends it high into the sky. It floats down towards Loams. Bennett came in from the side. He held up there. Dolliver knowing the tackle. Garland doing some ruck work, slapped away. Ollington couldn't take it cleanly. Harper did so. He shrugs free. He puts it on the left from 50. It's working towards the goals, but it's drifting too far. And a minor score for the Roos. 4-8 plays 8-6. This one's sent long, and it's going to drift all the way out of play and out of bounds on the full, so Clarence will take back over. They'll be pretty sure to send them inside the 450 arc here. It floats a long way, all the way to the back. Offhand, spills into the goal square. Anyone take clean possession? Mitchell with a good tackle. It somehow spills out, and the Bombers will take it away. They'll clear the defensive 50, and Young is going to be unfortunate there to put that one out of bounds on the full. He just had too much momentum. And when it bounced in front of him, just cannoned off his leg. So Wiley with the chance here to send the Roos inside forward 50. It was a poor kick, real scrappy number. Back in dispute, gathered by Ryan. Holmes didn't have an immediate option. They retreat back to Wiley. Wiley just steering one into the McGee direction. And it was well defended by Ollington. Got it to Simpson. Simpson tries to shrug free, eventually turns his kick round. Wiley not quite. Pearce. Sulzberger was in there. So too Ollington. Might have bitten off more than he could chew. No paid in the back. And the free kick will go the way of the Bombers. Jack Ahern, in fact. So at halfback, Jack Ahern. Wind just picking up here at the moment. Really took a hold of that kick, but no Clarence player attacked it. Allowed Alex Lee a free run at it. Lee steers in the middle. Leaflang's charged forward to the football here. Connor Leaflang sauntering forward. Fell for Cox Goodyear. His handball couldn't quite find Griffiths. And Goodyear a little high. Advantage will be paid. Clarence slice it through the middle through Norton. Needs to wait for the run of Howlett. Just prods it in front of him and then took a poor bounce. It favoured Manchandon. Manchandon intercepting. Worked it over the top to Sulzberger. Sulzberger back to Leaflang, who's still up the ground here. Clarence win it back, and then Howard slaps it forward. 3-on-2 here for the Bombers. Bennett couldn't quite take the mark. Has time to gather, and then sends it wide. Where drifting into space, Leaflang tries to steer it forward. That's a good mark, though. Nicely taken by Howlett. Punching this one forward. Good ball use there. They got a marking target they can find inside forward 50. A bursting lead was offered by Garland. Instead, he'll go himself and he'll thump it through. That's a wonderful goal there. Oh, the Roos. Enjoy that one immensely. It's Dolliver. We'll have some of that. Clarence. A big goal. Badly needed one. Gets it back to 16 points. And that sparks some sort of a fight back here. They've been jumped again in quarter number 3. So go back to the middle. Tossed up, Lee wins it down. Pressure applied though. So in the middle, they fight for it once more. Norton punches it towards Holmes. A few Bombers tracking it, real coming together there. Then charging onto it, Murrell. Couldn't quite take it cleanly though, and Pearce able to swoop on it. He's caught from behind. And that's a throw. Free kick going the way of the Roos. Preshaw. Oh, poor kick. Fortunately for him, Manchandon just lost his footing. Almost allows Whitelaw back in, but the Bombers will take over all the same. No options for the ball, so he just traced back to Sulzberger. Called to play on, just released in time to Wellington. His handball almost lets in Holmes, but Hubbard got there first. Worked it back over the top, and they're able to work it now towards Cox Goodyear. Spoil came from Howard, who sends it over the top. The sun in the eyes there of Murrell, and he cops one over the shoulder. So they send it deep into the goal square. Garland takes it out the back, and Garland gets 2 in a row for the Roos. They cut the margin back to 10 points. Some signs of life here from Clarence in quarter number 3. A couple of badly needed goals. Back within 10 points, but they're going to need to build a lead to take into the final term. The wind only seems to be getting stronger. They've got to keep going now. Find a way to kick another 4 goals or so in this quarter. A promising response after the Bombers had kicked the first of the quarter. Lee smashes it over the top. Works onwards to Ollington's advantage. Preshaw tracked it back, got to Holmes. Immediate release to Ryan. Worked it over the top to Murrell. Murrell's got plenty of space here to work with. The kick just a little high though for his teammate in Preshaw. Off hands, back in dispute. Vandam's gathered by Garland, who met him solidly. And it'll be tossed up. Garland slapped it over the top for Preshaw, tried to crash through the Vandam tackle, couldn't. Brings him to ground. Palmed into space. Callanan snapping around the corner. Callanan goals! And they're getting on a run here, the Roos. They've kicked 3 in quick succession, and they've closed the gap back to 4 points. Jack Callanan with some crafty work there around the corner. And the Roos fighting their way back into this one. It is a significant advantage at this end, but as the Bombers did in quarter number 2, they're making the most of it. And they've closed within a straight kick. Can they go on with it now? Well, Launceston would fancy anything, I'd have thought, inside of 4 goals really heading into the final term, but from how far back they were, it's been a really good 5 minutes this from the Roos. Getting in there deep. Good things are happening. Back to the middle once more. Holmes unable to get it free. Spilt the way of Wallington. His handball, a good one to Avents. Is looking for Cox Goodyear. Spilt out behind him. Young couldn't gather. Ahern laying the tackle. The umpire calling for it once more. In the blink of an eye, Clarence have closed the margin down to 4. 3 pretty quick goals here. Game on at Blundstone. Lee reaching over the top. The umpire spotted a jumper grab. Advantage surely can't be paid. Everyone had stopped. And it will come back the way of the Roos. So Howard, dropping one he might have had there was Green. Just eludes man Shandon. Paprotnik. Man Shandon got him cold. Avent now takes it, sends him towards Ahern, reaching for it. Nicely done, Holmes. Takes the intercept. Important mark that was, across the face to Murrell. He's called to play on, and play on he does. He drives them defensive side of the wing. Vandam scrapping there with Garlands. Simpson with the handball, fired it out nicely, and now Ahern. Just tried to steer one into the pocket. It pitches, drops. Young with time to gather. Slap it on the boot, but this time can't find the goals. We'll move along to 8 goals, 7. So Norton nearing defensive 50. Beerley stretching, couldn't quite bring it in. Handball to Cox Goodyear. And now Sulzberger just got the handball away. Howard arriving on the scene. Got it to Borsboom. A 1-2 with Beerley, and then Borsboom can steal it out, but it's a 3-on-1 in favour of the Bombers here. Hubbard taking the mark. Plays on immediately into the middle for Avents. Clarence with everybody behind the ball here. Cox Goodyear hitting up. Well, he just pumped this one in deep. Stands it up to the pocket. It's a lovely kick. On a lead there was Mitchell. Couldn't quite complete the transaction, and Clarence will take it away. Ill-directed kick straight to Jack Events. Here's Ollington. Goes shorter to Bennett. And they try and navigate their way through a sea of bodies here, the Bombers. They'll drive it in deep, man. Shandon almost reaching up, but Holmes, for the second time in a couple of minutes, parked behind the ball, takes the relieving mark. So Holmes kicks to a contest. And again, it's going to come right back in. This is a nice mark taken there by Ahern. Drops it into the corridor. Preshaw spoiling. Took it away from Sulzberger. Went back in and fought for it. The umpire will call for it. Slapped over the top by Green. In the back is the decision, so the Roos will take over. Baxter Norton bursting to give him an option. Instead, he'll head into the corridor for Harper. Stretches and marks and takes in stride. Just has to hold up, though. Didn't have an immediate option. Now he sends it in deep. Bombers have done a good job getting bodies back here. That's a great tackle that's laid. Some nice work from Dolliver. Umpire calls for it. Harper looked up and saw a 5-on-3 in favour of the Bombers back there. Didn't really want to kick to the contest on that occasion. Lee reaches over the top. Norton just sitting on top of Simpson here. The umpire says, I'll have it. Tossed up again. Lee slapped it down. Norton worked it forward. Bombers trying to clear the area. Callanan laying a tackle. And the Roos faithful screaming for holding the ball. Coming to life a little, the crowd here in the third set. He tossed up once more. Lee, Simpson. A little bit high there, I reckon, Simpson. That's the umpire's view. A free kick. In the way of the Roos. Opts to hand it off to an on-rushing Wiley. Well, the idea was there, the execution lacking. Wiley pulls his kick straight into the pocket, out of bounds on the full. It wasn't a bad idea to give it to the man with the boot. As strong as Wiley, but just a little rushed on that occasion. Short kick into the pocket finds Sulzberger. Clarence push up. Everyone is in one half of the ground here. No one really behind this contest as, again, just hits a wall of wind, spins backwards. Slapped on by Holmes. Umpire's going to ping him. Simpson will take the free kick and half back. So the Bombers just stemming the bleeding a little in the last few minutes after Clarence had got on a roll. Just slowed the tempo down. Across the face, risky into the wind, but he's certainly made out plenty of space. That's a little more dicey though. Coughed it straight up to Garland. Garland plays on and he finds Noah Holmes. Well, Bradley Cox-Goodyear's reaction on the near sideline tells the story. Slams the drink bottle into the turf. Utterly furious with that decision making and kicking a high ball into the wind to a 2-on-1. I think an understandable reaction from Cox-Goodyear. Couldn't believe what he'd just seen. Just not the part of the ground and the conditions to be guiding off a kick like that. Can Noah Holmes make them pay? Can he put Clarence ahead in this game? They were down by nearly 4 goals just 10 minutes ago. He sends it on its way and he misses. A let off for the Bombers. 7-9 plays 8-7. We've gone nearly 17 minutes into this quarter. The Roos probably going to need to build a lead to feel comfortable given the significant wind advantage. Man, Shandon is met solidly, tries to bounce away from trouble, did so. Got the kick away towards Lee, has 2 to beat, spoiled away from him. Who will it spill towards? Baxter Norton working his way towards it. Howlett in there. Ryan applying some pressure. And in the end, it'll be a ball up. Able to take clean possession. Preshaw eventually. Callanan didn't want to take possession. Punched it over the top to Norton. Norton back to Preshaw. Preshaw looking for McGee, but just floats away from him. Out of bounds on the full again. So the Bombers pinned deep in defence at the moment. But at least have stopped Clarence scoring goals. They can keep themselves nearly anything better than a 20-point deficit heading into the last quarter. They'll fancy themselves. That's a really poor kick though. Straight out of bounds. Clarence to take back over. Clarence need to pile on a few more late here. They find a marking target. Spiked away by Bennett, and Mansell clears the area and he finds a marking target in Leary. A long way up the ground here, Brandon Leary. So he's just got to hold up and wait for a few options. They'll take every second they can here. Fighting the clock as much as Clarence at this stage of the game. They're happy to just run seconds wherever they can, whilst they have to defend this end. That's a risky old kick. Oh, the two Clarence players spoiled each other, though. Still spilled to Norton. He couldn't quite find his teammate with a handball. A little sloppy there. Norton goes in again, and over-the-shoulder decision will give the Bombers the ball. Fleischer on the ground, collected by his own teammate, I'm pretty sure. So the Bombers again show some patience. Lee wanted to go inside, eventually went round the corner, couldn't quite take the mark. Young, Ollington, Avent, and they take it around the outside. Juggled mark, nicely taken by Ahern. Now just has to wait for the bodies to flood forward because there was no one inside forward 50. Short to Avent. Avent now into the pocket. Can he find a marking target? It's spoiled away. Harvey Griffiths got to it, and Harper happy to walk it over. 4 points the margin. A goal would be worth 2 or 3 attacking this end, the Bombers here. Clarence have to hold firm, can't afford to concede one here. So we tick into red time in the third quarter. Sharp play there, got it back to Simpson. Simpson pumping it deep. Griffiths with 2 to beat, almost did so. It's a little high, umpire says, I'll have it. Last line of defence here, the Roos. Trying to hold on. Might be happy just to try and rush it behind. Neither ruckman can get the ball. Harvey Griffiths got a kick away. But it didn't have the accuracy as it floats over for a minor score. 8-8 plays 7-9. 5 points in it, but the Bombers will come home with the wind in their sails. Clarence need to find a couple in red time here at least. Preshaw, too much for him over the top to Manshandon. William Manshandon. Oh, goes around the man on the mark. Classy stuff. And then he sends it deep towards the goal square. No one could take the mark. Spills out towards Griffiths. Ball in dispute. Griffiths gathers. He in turn is caught. A good tackle was laid, bringing him to a halt. Smells offended. Toss back up quickly. Slap back in centrally. Leary on the bottom of that. It's the right end of the park as far as the Bombers are concerned. Clarence needing to do some scoring here. They've just been held up in the last 10 minutes or so. Holmes blocks off Ives. Scooped a handball out behind. Griffiths supplying the pressure. And another bounce. And more important seconds being run off the clock here. Ives. Holmes flicked it back to Anderton. Anderton coughed it up to Simpson. Simpson with the snap-on goal. He's just offline. 8-9 plays 7-9, and even 6 points the margin. Baxter Norton wants this down the corridor, imploring his teammate to head that way, and eventually they will, but it was a poor kick straight to Alex Lee. Lee spikes it back in towards Leary from behind, but a good mark was taken by Holmes. So the third or fourth time he's done this term, Holmes. The relieving mark. That is setting it wide for Green, using the width of the ground there. Green back inside, finds Borsboom. Borsboom sends it to the outer wing where they've got some numbers here, the Roos. Mark is juggled, and they chip it in. Building here a Clarence. Harper didn't have an immediate option, eventually released it. They send it towards half forward. McGee. Anyone take clean possession? They can. Handball flicked back. Slapped on the boot. Deep, and it's going to land perfectly into the pocket of Dolliver, who thought about playing on and snapping quickly. Just go back and take the set shot and square things up. Jack Dolliver can level the scores in the 24th minute of the third term. They're fourth in a row. And he misses. Oh no, just squeezed it in. The way they reacted initially there, I thought he must have missed. Eventually, signalled a goal and they get to him. And we're all level here. The Clarence don't have long to try and build a lead to take into the final term. I still think the Bombers would be pretty comfortable to be on an even keeling heading into this final term. It has been a 3 or 4 goal win to this end all day. Not as impossible to score to the Church Street end as the previous meeting back in round 11 between the two, but pretty tough all the same. Just the 2 goals of the 16 have been kicked to that end. 14 of them have come the Derwent River end. So Clarence need to keep going here late in the quarter. It'll be the Bombers who take over through Sulzberger in the middle of the ground though. Chip short for Simpson. Simpson slow playing it. Now we'll just hook it towards Alex Lee. Just got rid of Green. Legally, says the umpire, and Lee will go back. And regardless of whether he's going to have a shot or not, he'll take a few seconds off the clock here. Into the wind, it might be just beyond Lee, this kick, we'll see. Plenty of bodies back in the goal square. Scores level late in the third quarter. Alex Lee opts to just set it up to the pocket. It drifts into space. Bounces ahead of Sulzberger. Holmes got a hand on it. Norton tumbled it round the corner. It's going to come back at them though. Mansell steered one, couldn't find his teammate there in Mitchell. Pearce applying some pressure. Whitelaw scooped a handball out behind. Ahern just slipping a little high on the tackle. The umpire spots it. Chip centrally for Callanan. The Bombers shut off the corridor, so he heads wide for Green. Fisher the next short option, but ignores that and just holds it up. Bombers doing a really good job shutting down the avenues. Inside and found a marking target in the end in Howard, but Howard's with a poor kick straight to Leary. Unlikely to matter. Brandon Leary is going to have to kick from 65 into the wind, and looked like he played on to me. It won't matter anyway. Pitch is well short. He was never going to make the journey into a stiff wind, so it's level on the scoreboard at three-quarter time. But the Bombers ahead in the game, you feel, with a handy wind at their backs to come in the final term. It will take a mighty effort from the home side to win this game, kicking against a 2 to 3 goal win minimum. Maybe things will die down. They've given themselves a sniff. They kicked 4 goals in a row to get back into the game. Clarence, it's 8-9 plays, 8-9 at three-quarter time. Don't go anywhere. A thrilling finish potentially coming up here at Blundstone Arena in round 16 TSL action. 8-9 plays 8-9 at the final change. So about set to get underway for the final quarter here at Blundstone Arena. As we started, scores level, 8-9 plays, 8-9 as we head into the final term. The Northern Bombers, though, in a pretty good position, given that 14 of today's 16 goals have come at the Derwent River end. The end they will be shooting at here in the final term. It will take something pretty special from Clarence here to flip the game script and win a quarter against this significant wind advantage. But they've given themselves a chance by kicking the last 4 goals of the third quarter to restore parity. Will it be enough, or will the Bombers get over the line and continue their push for the minor premiership? The Tigers just got over the top of the Magpies, running out comfortable victors in the final term after it was close for 3 quarters there. Whilst North Hobart lead Lauderdale in other TSL action, but back to the middle of Blundstone Arena for the final time here. The quarter begins, and Lee, who's been prolific again, spikes it over the top. Norton's handball too sharp. Pearce from behind Callanan applied the pressure. Manchandon onto his right, then onto his left. Couldn't quite find Cox Goodyear. The Roos tried to clear defensive 50. The kick was charged down, slapped on by Holmes. And some traffic here is Callanan, and Lee has a hold of him. Stoppage at half forward for the Bombers. So, the Hearn on the corner. Young trying to reel it in. Ives swept a handball back inside. Solidly met by Young. And another good tackle this time from Cox Goodyear. They'll lock it up inside the forward 50. The Bombers wasted a little time in the second term attacking this end. Scored 3 very quick goals to start that term. Looking to get an early one here. Recapture the lead that the Roos managed to erode in that third term. Toss back up. Rucks leap into it. Green fires out a handball. Fell for Preshaw. Preshaw out the back now. Swings it up towards the wing. Body's back there for the Bombers. Bennett, his handball picked off though. McGee back inside. There's only one match up ahead of the ball here. Everyone kind of trailing behind. Good tackle laid there. No, in the back. Great kick into the corridor for Manchandon, but working back really well was Preshaw. His handball, though, was fumbled. That invites danger. Manchandon followed up, worked his man off the ball, fired it across to Hubbard. Hubbard to Harvey Griffiths. Griffiths slaps it on the boot. It's drifting through. What a goal! Harvey Griffiths. They've been dumping him from outside the paint all afternoon at this end of the ground. They do it again. Harvey Griffiths just slapped it on the boot, and it worked its way back on the wind majestically. First blood in the final term to the Bombers, and they lead by that score, 9-9 to 8-9. Their goal kicking really has been outstanding to this end today. And that's the 4th one at least they've kicked from outside the paint. Making the most of their opportunities. And they recapture the lead. So back, Lee over the top of Holmes, Simpson out after it, Norton on top of him. Ollington tries to spin through, released it to Pearce. Pearce from the square, hammering it towards the goals for another one. Griffiths! Got it! Harvey Griffiths juggles the mark. He'll go back and he'll have 2 goals in a minute. And the Bombers will be out by 12 points. And a difference maker in attack here, Harvey Griffiths. He kicks one from outside the 50. That one, a regulation goal from inside the goal square. A good mark, and Harvey Griffiths making his mark on the contest. And again attacking this end. It's 2 early goals in the opening moments to the Bombers. And the uphill task for Clarence is fast becoming a mountain. They trail by 12. kicking against this wind. It'll be so tough for them from this point. Some slick work out of the middle from the Bombers once more, and I reckon they would have done more scoring from clearances than intercepts here today. They've turned them into scores quite nicely. Lee again, been at the heart of so much of that. As they smash this one forward once more, off hands, Ives juggling. That looks like a high contact, it is. It's going to be another one perhaps coming up for the Bombers. They're looking to shut the door on this game. Cox Goodyear, a good man to have it. He can make it 3 goals in the opening 5 minutes. They're wasting no time driving the nails in here, the Bombers. The wind is only getting stronger, making Clarence's calls all the harder. See the goalpost swaying in the wind as Cox Goodyear begins his approach. Just clean dropped the football, recovered it, and misses. Well, that's bizarre. He dropped the ball before he was meant to drop it in his kicking motion. Just lost a handle on it, Cox Goodyear. Wonder if the wind blew it out. Either way, just to behind. 13 points the margin. But they'll be right back on the attack here as the short one finds Pearce. Nathan Pearce. Cox Goodyear bursts for him, but Pearce wasn't quite ready. He drifts inside and then fires in a little dart to Leary. That's great ball use from Pearce. Was just waiting, and Leary timed his lead expertly and was hit on the chest with an absolute bullet of a kick. Gave the defender no play on it. And Leary can extend the lead to 19 points. Leans back, sends it on its way, and splits the middle once again, does Brandon Leary. And at 19 points, that might just about be curtains on the ruse here at Blundstone Arena. There's been 2 goals kicked to the Church Street end all afternoon. They're going to need at least 4. And that seems a very difficult task indeed. The Bombers have made their move early in the final term. Slammed on 3 quick goals. Might have put this one to bed. So 19 points now the margin. Return to the middle. Alex Lee, well, he got the 3 votes last time the 2 sides met. I reckon he's well on the way to that again today. He's been magnificent. Avent shifts it forward, just eludes man Shandon, but Pearce is running onto it. He gathers it in stride, he straightens up, and he kicks them 20 points clear. Just offline, was just lacking the finish. It would have been a spectacular goal. 77 plays 57. Again, just walking it out of the middle. The Bombers. This one's hammered clear. Actually holds up into the wind and tumbles out of play. So the Northern Bombers are going to keep applying the pressure to the Tigers at the top of the table. And that all-important battle for home ground advantage in the finals. Norton lays a tackle. Slip worked out, able to slip underneath the tackle in the end as the Bombers were trying to move it forward. Sulzberger, a throw's been called there and free kick will go. Way of the ruse. So round 19 will be that Northern Bombers v Canberra Tigers clash up at UTAS. The Tigers have to play Launceston in between that. Certainly won't be an easy task. The ball's forward here, pretty ugly looking kick though, just coughed it up a little easily. Lee the target, Green arriving on the scene, worked it away from him. They're both kind of overrun it, play continues, Preshaw shrugs free, got the handball onward to McGee. McGee hands it off and the snap is offline from Murrell. They really needed to kick that one. They're going to keep themselves in the mix here. So the Bombers exit defensive 50 to Sulzberger. And Leaflang, who fired one off over the top. Deep towards Cox Goodyear, just over his head. Has some support though. Ives worked it back towards him. Beerley kept his feet and then weaves his way through the traffic nicely. Finds Ryan. Nice play by Beerley. Ryan turns and goes quickly up towards Preshaw. Had two to deal with. Punched it out towards Anderton. But Pearce was there to win it back. Tried to take on Preshaw. Got him cold. Ooh, umpire in a generous mood. Says toss it in. Green now doing the ruck work against Lee. Won that one down, but the Bombers might get the clearance. Sulzberger just forced it out to Wallington. Through traffic there, Mansell. Spoiled just away, but landed in the hand of Manchandon, who fired one just offline for a behind. A lively customer is Manchandon. Harper. Sends it up towards Beerley. It'll just drop ahead of him though. Bounces out of play. Green palmed it down. By circling. No attempt made, he says, holding the footy for a kick to Howlett. Immediate give to Green. Green finds Anderton. Anderton wants to give it off by hand, and his teammate didn't want to give the option in the end, so went searching for Howard, paddles it towards the boundary, then kept it in front of himself here up against Hubbard. Doing well, Howard, just keeps advancing it forward, but eventually the numbers were going to win out. The Bombers happy to see it over the line. Wasn't a whole lot more Liam Howard could do in that situation. Forces a stoppage at half forward. So it's back in. Lee slapped it down, just away from Anderton, out the back. Slipping and losing his footing for Protney. Wiley lays a tackle on Leaflang, but the Bombers keep advancing it now through Pearce. Puts it out in front of Leary. Tries to set up a foot race. There's two Roos defenders to deal with him. One of them was Beerley, who takes it away and then goes looking for Harper just over his head. Slapped on the boot by Borsboom. McGee presenting up. Fletcher Bennett does well to spoil it away from him. And then holds him up. Devastating second quarter from the Bombers. Really what they've built this victory on today. Clarence pretty dominant in the first term with the wind at their backs. 4-4 to 1 goal 2, but 6 goal 4 to 2 behind, I think it was. 3 behind only in the second term for the Roos. Really built a sizable lead. Clarence just tracked back down. Being level, never really looked like it was going to be enough heading into this final term as a stoppage at half forward. Another impressive showing from the Northern Bombers. The premiership favourites at this point, although whoever gets home ground may well have that mantle heading into finals, as skipping free from the contest and firing off line was Simpson. 21 points the margin. Preshaw from the side with a strong pair of hands. Leary almost giving away 50 there, just got out of the way inside. Oh, Bealey tried to keep it low. Sets a task for Paprotny, numbers overwhelm him. Hubbard dives on. Lee works it towards the boundary. Ollington out after it, handball back to Simpson. Roney with some composure. Got it to Ollington. Ollington just chips into a wide open 50. And Ollington was dumped by Ryan after he got rid of it. That's going to advance the ball. Man, Shandon quickly pouncing on it, sensing the opportunity for a goal here. And he'll go back to extend the lead to 27. And he won't be able to take the kick man, Shandon. It's going to be Jack Ahern who was nearest to it. So the downfield free kick will go to Jack Ahern, who will look to kick the Northern Bombers 12th of the afternoon. The result sewn up at this point, but to drive another nail into the coffin here, Jack Ahern just tugs it near side. And they move on to 11 goals, 14. Wiley, short to Harper. Harper sends it up towards the wing. Mark not quite taken. McGee played on. Sends them towards half forward, but plenty of Bombers back there. Here's Theo Ives. Able to spread the ball wide. Fletcher Bennett on the wing. Drives them in the Cox Goodyear direction. Just worked under it there by Bealey. And Sulzberger steps over the line. Sting going out of this one. The Bombers, with those 3 early goals in the quarter, really just taking care of business. Not leaving the door ajar for Clarence. Really slamming it shut early on in the quarter. This one's worked back to Hubbard. Dropped the shoulder, tried to take a man on and drew a high contact free kick. His kick almost intercepted by McGee. Couldn't quite complete the transaction though, and the Bombers now through Avent. Avent from 55 with a thumping kick. It's drifting and almost marked by Ahern. Not quite able to get hands to it. Extending the lead one behind at a time here at the moment. The Bombers, as Ryan, the target on this kick, had the size on man Shandon, but direction not there. That was just slapped over the line. And the umpire says insufficient intent. Ballsboom will take it. So Ballsboom. Nice kick in the end. Callanan had it spoiled away from him by Roney. Mitchell dives on. Couldn't find Vandam. Coughed it up to Ryan. Callanan. They work it by hand to Ryan. Couldn't gather cleanly. Lets Vandam back in. Worked him off it. Sulzberger now the 1-2. And then he's taken over by Baxter Norton. Ticking towards red time now. Round 16 in the TSL. 5 rounds of the regular season to come. And then it'll be finals time. Ives worked it forward. Hubbard trying to gather. Avent sliding in. Spilt to Ives. Ives back to Vandam. Just danced round one and handballed it over the top. Hubbard continued his run. That was ignored. They go back to Simpson. Leading player of the year count is Simpson. And sharp skill shown there to find Leary, who, I wonder if he's thinking about a shot. We know it's been a significant wind advantage. The balls have been carrying through here all afternoon. Leary says, why not? But he just ran out to his side, and that took him right in the path of Norton, who just put him off the kick a little, out on the full. By hand to Wiley. Oh, tried to take a man on, then laid a good shepherd. Clear and kick through the hands of Wallington. Follows up, gathered by Norton. Brings him down. Green and Ives. Green slaps it down towards the boundary. Anderson pressuring Avent. Avent turning back in. Release the handball to Pearce. Preshaw. Got it to Green. Sam Green. A little chip up towards Holmes. Vandam smashes it away from him into the path of Veroni. Back to Connor Leaflang. Drives between a couple of continues his run as Leaflang. Can be a real creator at times despite being a key defender. Loves charging forward. This one falls towards Leary. Gathered by Avents. He directs it wide of the mark. So 11 goals, 16. Even 4 goals to the margin. Into red time now in the final term, and that one's going to come back at them. Chipped inside to Sulzberger. There's plenty of time to pick his options here. Went for Young, but a good spoil there from Fisher. Gathered back inside, man. Shandon weaving past a couple, but Norton got him. Holding the footy. Baxter Norton still fighting hard for the Roos. Chips it short for Borsboom. Charged down from behind. Got his kick away, but turned it over. Showed too much of it to Mansell. Mansell. He drifts on in short to Cox Goodyear. Cox Goodyear sends it there towards man Shandon. Off hands and gathered there by Mitchell from the pocket. Tried to work it back. Fisher's kick charge down. An opportunity for man Shandon, but Wiley claiming him immediately. He's hungry for another goal out there at the moment, man Shandon. Buzzing about, trying to add another one. An air swing there. And then off hands and through for another behind. 18 now. Plays 8-10. Mark taken under some duress. Immediately retreating. Wiley. Eventually they work it to Green. Wasn't great service for the big man. Had to stoop, but they keep a hold of it. Well, they had done so before an ugly kick was straight down the throat of man Shandon. Man Shandon, just a little too much pepper on that one for Ollington. That's in Callanan. Callanan just finds Green. Green to Norton. Bearing down on him was Cox Goodyear, but he was able to find McGee in space. Alomes presenting forward of the ball for him. He brings that one in ahead of Lockie Mitchell. It's been a much quieter afternoon today for Bryce Alomes. 6 goals and a stack of contested marks last week. Goes looking for Garland in a 2-on-1. Numbers went out, but Garland kept his feet, punched a handball centrally. Working it towards goal and snapping home is Murrell. And gets a consolation goal for the Roos. But a little more than that at this stage of the afternoon. They move along to 9-10-64. But the lack of celebration from the goal kicker paints the story there. 20 points now, the margin. Tom Murrell able to bag one there. Can't be too long left now in this final quarter. Three goals, 9 in this last term have the Bombers. Inaccurate as Avent turns away and Pearce just tried to trap it with his foot in the end. Ollington with 2 to beat. Like some good pressure. Ives reaching in, trying to get it out of there, then decided he'd rather keep it inside and have a ball up. Ives to Sulzberger. He's going nowhere. Green hammered it down. Ryan couldn't quite gather. Anderton to Green. Back to Norton. Lovely left of his. He pitches it out in front of a Loams. Gathered in stride, but Mitchell from behind has a tight grip on him. Release the handball. Harper just handballing rather aimlessly into space. He'll have to go after it himself. And the pressure being applied by Mansell. It's Oliver and Mitchell. It's Oliver caught by Mitchell. And Sulzberger in there as well. 25 minutes gone now in the final term. This one nearing its conclusion. It'll be another victory for the Bombers. So keep pace with the Tigers. They remain in second, but looks like it's all going to come down to perhaps that match in 3 rounds' time up at UTAS. Could well be what determines minor premiership. Bombers just keep on keeping on. They're a damn good side. They've shown it again today as this one's sent towards Leary. Tap towards Griffith. He helped it on. Harvey Griffiths off the deck. Just keeps working it towards Young. Tried to slap it back inside, but it's taken over the line. Toss back in. Green hammers it towards Ollington. He paddles it towards Cox Goodyear. Let's sit for him. He gets around one, tries to shape onto the left, just corralling him, so retreats back to Mansell. Mansell short kick. The mark is paid to Young. And he'll go back. The kick nearing full time here to make it 26 points. Young sends it on its way. Looks good. It is good. They get their 12th of the afternoon. Their 4th of the final term after kicking 3 pretty quick goals to start the quarter. They're really just scoring exclusively in behinds there for the next 20 minutes, but they do get another one. And 26 points, somewhat more of a fair reflection of the contest on the scoreboard now. They've been comfortably the better side today, the Bombers. 30 scoring shots to 19. Does tell that tale a little. Clarence, we got the jump on them. Started sharply. 4 goals to 1 at quarter time. It was shaping to be a real battle at that point, but a dominant second term, really the catalyst for this one. Clarence even getting back level at 3/4 time never seemed likely with the wind as it was. Griffiths lurking. Whitelaw, Cox Goodyear, relentless. His attack on the ball and man, as ever, Bradley Cox Goodyear. Ives won it down nicely. Leary caught by Bealey, handball over the top, and Griffith swoops on it. But the siren will beat him out. Yeah, we get the point, whoever was on the siren. A little over-exuberant, but that is the end of the game with the longest siren in the history of the TSL, perhaps. 26 points, the final margin of victory here at Blundstone Arena. 12-18-90, the Northern Bombers to Clarence 9-10-64. Just as it was in round 11 when they met, scoring almost exclusively done at one end of the ground. 18 of the 21 goals were kicked to the river end today. Just 3 goals kicked to the Church Street end. It was tough sledding. So when they turned for the final quarter with the scores level, the Bombers always seemed likely And they went bang, 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 kicked 3 goals in the first 5 minutes of the quarter, and that was curtains. Another impressive display from the Bombers. Jumped early, but fought back well. They keep the pace with the Tigers at the top of the ladder. I've been Andrew Cooling, calling the action for the TSL live stream. Hope you've enjoyed the coverage here. The Bombers once again too strong for the Roos. They are looking the goods in season 2023. Until next time, it's bye for now.
Was there a fortnight? Yeah, hopefully we can get